Hey, welcome into a Sunday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Signed, digital autograph app for your smartphone, GETSYND. Do me a solid if you would, go to your app store, Google Play, download the app. I'd greatly appreciate it. LSU baseball gets a much-needed win, and the Pels-Warriors game 4 from the blender tonight, and your boy is going to be there. I'm fired up, man. I'll be sitting on the floor under the goal. Floor seats. I've done that once before in an NBA game in my life, and I'm so fired up to be there tonight. We'll talk about that game in a sec. First, LSU baseball, when they absolutely had to have it, came up with a win, and maybe more stunning is that Arkansas just kind of keeps doing Arkansas things against LSU. You know, I know we've talked about it, but Arkansas is a baseball program that has had so much success over the years. And the trips to Omaha, Van Horn's won a ton of games. They put guys in the pros like Benintendi and Dallas Keuchel. I mean, they're a really, really good college baseball program, and they got a 12,000 seat stadium. It's a really hard place to go play, and for some reason, they just can't get over the mental hump of beating LSU, and so they had a chance to take their first series against LSU since 2011. I mean, LSU's won 12 of 13 series against Arkansas, and they had a chance last night. Arkansas did with a 3-2 lead in the 7th, and they peed down their leg again. It's as stunning as the rally possum stuff, and I don't want to take anything away from LSU because they made plays when they had to make them to win the game, but Arkansas aided greatly. I mean, and LSU gets two guys on. They kick a ball at third base to put a guy on base in the 7th. Austin Bain comes up with a huge hit, which, by the way, where would LSU be without Austin Bain? He's pitched, he's played first, he's played second, he's played third, he's DH'd, he's hit in the middle of your lineup, he's hit at the bottom of your lineup. He leads the SEC in doubles. It's crazy that this guy didn't swing a bat for 4 years, and he has been LSU's MVP, and it's not even close. Like, I literally I cannot even think of who the next guy would be to make the argument that he's LSU's MVP this year. It's absolutely Austin Bain. But Bain comes up with a big hit, and LSU goes up 4-3, and then Zach Watson's up, and he hits this chopper in front of the mound, and stunningly, it's like a swinging bunt, and the pitcher, Riedel, comes off the mound, and he slips to his butt. Instead of just eating it, he tries to throw to first, and he throws it into right field, and 2 more runs score. Now LSU's up 6-3, and it's like, holy crap. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, a couple of errors in that inning alone for Arkansas, and it's just kind of the way that they roll against LSU. It's hard to explain, man, but something about seeing LSU and trying to finish off a series against LSU. Arkansas just hasn't been able to do it. The other thing that was super impressive was Ted Peterson. And I may not know as much baseball, obviously, as many analysts, but I do know Paul Mainieri after watching him for 12 years. And he looks for guys he can trust, which was obviously why he went to Nick Bush on Friday. And then he establishes roles for those guys based on that. Like, Todd Peterson is going to become LSU's closer. Paul watched Peterson come out of the bullpen against Vandy and give him really good long relief, and said, you know what, I think that could be his role. He did it again later, and I think Peterson got the Sunday start against Tennessee, and it didn't go well. But so I think he's not wanting to start Peterson anymore. Maybe it was no, it was last week against Ole Miss, and I think what Mainieri's looking at right now is, okay, when Peterson knows he's going to start, maybe it's just that anxiety, that pressure that builds of going through that routine, as opposed to, hey, grab your glove, go in the bullpen, get hot, and we're going to put you in the game, and we want you to throw as hard as you possibly can and get us 3 outs. And I think that, he's kind of turned into, I'm trying to say this so carefully because Hess was so good last year, but it's kind of the same role that Hess developed into. If you remember, much of last year, they were trying to develop Hess into the midweek starter. And at the beginning of the season, it was Hess and Eric Walker battling for the number 3 starter job. But Walker was just a bit more refined, so they went with him, and it was obviously the right call. But it wasn't until late where Mainieri was like, "Hey, just grab your glove, get loose and just go throw 96, go throw 97, and get guys out in the ninth. And Hess was awesome. And maybe that's what Peterson needs to do. And he was fantastic last night. And he came in on a 2-0 count when Caleb Gilbert couldn't throw strikes. If you didn't see it, Gilbert started the ninth. LSU's got a 3-run lead. He walks a guy on 4 pitches, gives up throws a wild pitch, RBI single, starts the next guy 2-0. Maneri hooks him. The kid just couldn't throw a strike. So he goes and gets Peterson in a 2-0 count. Peterson gets a pop-up, then strikeout of the 3 and 4 hole hitters. And, overpowered them with fastballs. Nothing fancy. You may have, for the rest of the season, your new closer in Ted Peterson, which I'm fired up for. And I'm fired up every time he goes into a ball game and everybody messages or tweets me about the Todd Peterson drop. So LSU's even the series, and they got a chance to win a series at home against a top 5 team if they can find a way to scratch out a win on Sunday. Paul Maneri said A.J. Labus is going to start. And I've talked a lot about A.J. Labus this year, and I like him a lot because he throws strikes, and that's something you don't often find in college baseball, are guys that can consistently pump strikes. Now, Labus does that. The thing that concerns me about playing Arkansas with a pitcher like that is this Arkansas lineup can hit 1 through 9, and they can hit for power. They lead the SEC in homers. They lead the SEC in batting average. And when you have that many guys who can hit in the lineup, and you got a freshman pitcher who's not overpowering, the fastball is 88, 89, and he is just a strike throwing machine, then you're basically saying, hey, let's put it in play and let the defense play behind us, and that's great if they hit it right at people. Now, Labus had his best outing of the season a few weeks back in the midweek. I believe it was against Louisiana Tech, where he threw the complete game shutout, and he actually had 9 strikeouts. So maybe late in the season, Labus has figured something out to where he can start putting guys away more frequently, but he's going to have to do that against Arkansas, because this is the kind of lineup where you can't go hunting bats, because they will put good swings on you and they will make you hurt. So I'm very interested to see how it goes. I don't know that Maneri has a better option than Labus today. It's probably the right decision. Devin Fontenot threw 3 innings last night, and he was fantastic. You went with Bush on Friday night out of relief, and I think you'd like to have him available if you need him out of relief. Like you said, I think Peterson's going to stay in the pen and the closer role, which really limits your options. He went to Gilbert last night in the ninth, and Gilbert couldn't hold it, so I don't think you trust Gilbert right now. So you start looking around, okay, where are my options? And I think Labus is it. So, Paul's pretty good at playing hunches and feels, but I think this is also one of those things where he may not have he just doesn't have a better option right now. And I like A.J. Labus. I just think that I'd like A.J. Labus a lot more against a team that was batting .260 than a team that's batting .310 collectively with 70 homers. So, but it's a huge spot for LSU. The flip side of that is Arkansas obviously had to go TBD for Sunday, and so we'll see what the Hogs do. But your hope is that LSU's offense can get off and give A.J. Labus some run support, and the Tigers can find a way to win the series. Because if they can find a way to win this series, I know it's crazy just considering the tone of yesterday's show, but if they can find a way to win this series, which they've struggled on Sundays, blowing leads late the last 2 weeks against Ole Miss and against South Carolina, find a way to win the series, all of a sudden your RPI is going to boost. You might sniff the rankings again. You're within a game. You win today, you're within 1 game of Arkansas in the West, and you could very well be at worst tied for second in the West after today, if you find a way to go out and win. So find a way to go out and win today, LSU, and then you get to breathe, because the worst team in the conference comes to your place next weekend, and that's your chance to make a move in the standings and make a move in the polls nationally and kind of reassert yourself if you can do it. But I have to see it to believe it with this team. They've had these opportunities on too many Sundays, and they haven't come through. So there's no reason to believe they will, except for the intangible of Arkansas doesn't seem to be able to beat LSU, and LSU's been better at home than on the road this year. So let's see if they can make that happen. Pels-Warriors. So the thing that sucks about today is LSU baseball is at 2. the Pelicans-Warriors at 2:30. So I had to make a call. And a buddy of mine offered me tickets, floor seats for the game today, the Pelicans game. And I will be sitting under the goal watching Game 4, defending champs, AD and the boys. It's going to be an awful lot of fun in the blender. So make sure y'all tweet me and text me updates of of the LSU game. I'll try to catch it when I get home. But the interesting thing is that in Game 3, the Pels were a 4.5-point dog. Today they're a 5.5-point dog. Clearly, odds makers thinking that Golden State's going to play with a little more urgency to take this game so they can close it out on their home floor in 5, so they won't have to make the return trip to New Orleans again in 6. So it's when one team is just definitively better than the other, it's hard to really break down matchups. But two things in Game 3 that went very well for New Orleans, and I'll do this quickly. They ratcheted up the defensive intensity, and that's one of the reasons you saw Golden State have such a poor shooting night. That's number one. And number two is the bench scoring. When you get 18 points from Ian Clark, when Solomon Hill goes 3 for 6 from three-point range, when you're getting scoring off the bench and you don't have to rely on Anthony Davis to give you 45 and Rajon Rondo to give you 22, which was insane a couple nights ago, you have an opportunity to keep the pressure on the entire game, even when your starters rotate off and you have the second rotation in. So I'd say watch bench scoring and watch defensive intensity for the Pelicans. What I do know is that the crowd is going to be lit and emotional and try to carry that team as best they can. So big day today with LSU baseball, Game 3 against Arkansas, and Game 4 of the Pels-Warriors series. Tune into all of it. We will be back tomorrow morning for Morning Scone recapping it all. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button on the Matt Viscone YouTube channel. Told you to get verified, to have a verified YouTube account, you've got to get to be considered for it. You have to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 collective watch hours. So in about a month, I'm halfway to both of those, or just past halfway both of those. So thrilled about the engagement and how many of you have watched and continue to watch and comment. So I appreciate it greatly. But if you've not hit the subscribe button, please do that. You would be helping me tremendously. Y'all have a great Sunday. See you tomorrow for Morning Scone.